Hi everybody, welcome to Hillbilly Herpetology. This is Webb. First and foremost, I'd like to say a happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Now, a few weeks ago, well, been about a week ago now, I unboxed some tarantulas and I said, we're not going to make this a big thing on the channel, and we're not, but I do feel like whenever I get some new things in, we might as well do an unboxing video, and this serves several purposes. First and foremost, it's kind of a selfish purpose. If I get these animals in and I'm weighing them on a video and I'm describing them on the video, showing them on the video, then I have an easy way to go back and be able to see what day did I get these animals, what did they weigh when I got them, what kind of shape were they in then, etc. And it's a good thing for me to have for records. And then also everybody gets to see the new critters that we have coming into Webbed Up Exotics. So, oh, did I say Happy Father's Day? If I didn't, Happy Father's Day, everybody. And y'all enjoyed the video, and hopefully you guys enjoy seeing these beautiful cresties. All right, so yesterday I went and picked up some of these crested geckos. This is a guy that I've actually went through before. He breeds beautiful crested geckos. He actually hadn't even been advertising these. I just hit him up and was like, hey, you got any more of those crested geckos? Because I traded off a few of the males that we had for those tarantulas that I did the unboxing video of. And that'd be really nice to replace those with some more potential females. I do have a jeweler's loop coming here very soon. Should be getting delivered to the house, to where I'm going to be able to look at the pores of these guys and see if they're popping into males or seeing if they're females. And so at about 3 months, you should be able to do that. Unfortunately, this guy, he's a very busy guy. He's gonna write out the lineage, the birth dates, and all that for all of these and send it to me. He did it with the last one, so I know he's good for the information. But because of that, as of this moment, I'm not 100% sure how old these guys are, but I do know that a few of them were from the batch that I got from him the last time, and they were ones he was gonna hold back and has decided that he can go ahead and sell them to me, so that way they can be part of our breeding project. Now, the one complaint that I have, if there is a complaint with these, is there's a lot of Dalmatian morph in here. The thing with the Dalmatian morph is, it's much like the eclipse morph in leopard geckos. It's a dominant trait that just gets bred throughout all of your breeding lines if you don't watch what you're doing. So obviously I'm gonna have two separate lines of these going. I'm gonna have the Dalmatian line, and I'm gonna have the non-Dalmatian line. And the Dalmatian will go over every other gene, every other morph. If you got Dalmatian in one of the two animals that you're breeding, Dalmatian will be passed on with everything else. And so because of that, I'm going to keep them separated. And without further ado, we'll get to doing some unboxings. Now this one here, this is one that came from the last batch that I had gotten from him. And as you can see, we have a partial pinstripe. There's some brindle patterning in this, obviously a yellow, and a little flighty, and small starting portholes on the side. And from what I can tell, can't really tell much about the gender. These things are kind of small. I don't see any bulge back here yet though, but without really looking at the loop and actually magnifying it and seeing pop pores, I can't really tell right now. They're all too small. Okay, so this one here is really, really cool patterning. I don't know if you can get a really good look at that, but absolutely gorgeous. I love that line behind the eyes on their head. I love the brindle patterning. Oh, here we go with the jump. And then just look at how bright that whitetail is. Like, these things are absolutely gorgeous. And this thing, you can already tell, when he gets bigger, or she gets bigger, gonna have a great crest on it, which is another one of the big things that you look for when you're gonna be breeding these guys. You want that nice big crest. Now this one here is one I'm very excited about. Gary, when you see this, you're gonna be very happy. We have several of this group that have the red coloration to it. So I have Aria that's over at Gary's house right now, and it is a beautiful, beautiful Halloween morph, which we know is the red with the dark sides. This thing here has the portholes. It doesn't have the dark sides, but that's fine. What we needed was more of these reds to get breeding into the group. And as you guys can see, these are all tiny, but you know what? We're okay with that. We're okay with putting the time in and raising these things out and seeing what our breeding is going to be like in the future. That's the exciting thing. And then also, it's going to be so much fun to just give you guys the updates on these and show you how they're doing in the future. Now, this one here, as you can see, once again, we're seeing that Dalmatian morph. Any of them that have those black spots, that's Dalmatian morph. Now, this one's also a Harlequin morph, and it also has some of the portholes there on the side, which I have a lot of those in these guys, which is going to be really, really good because we're going to be able to develop those and make them bigger with just some selective line breeding. And that's one of the projects that I definitely want to get into, getting those nice drippy portholes. Okay. Here we have a brindle Dalmatian, and once again, you know, a lot of these things, they got a lot of different morphs in them, yeah, but they're not like, you know, $500 crested geckos or anything. But, you know, the fun with these things are getting that line going, line breeding, developing the own look that you want to go for within your collection, breeding for those bigger crests, and, you know, just seeing what you can do, because these things are like unmapped genetically. There's still questions on if their genetics work like leopard geckos do, where you breed dominant and recessive. And to that I say yes, that is how they work. But, you know, there's still people out there arguing that. So there's a lot of mystery to these guys. And we just had a little jumper there. A lot of mystery to these guys, and that's one of the reasons I'm so excited to work with them, because, you know, when you're still mapping out what all the genetics do in an animal, that's whenever you can make your own line bred morphs. You know, make something to name. Okay, this is another one of the bigger ones that he was holding back. This thing's a partial pinstripe, and the way that it's partially pinstriped is really cool. So you can see, like, where the lighter colors are in its back is where that pinstripe shows up. And then look at that brilliant white tail. You can really see why this was one of the holdbacks from the guy that I'm getting these from. They are jumpy. When they're this small, I have noticed that they are very hard to handle, and I typically don't. If I wasn't doing this unboxing video, they'd be going straight into their enclosure, and I'll be showing you guys them being released into their enclosure too, so we can talk a little bit about the setup for them. Here I've had this go out and I haven't even weighed any of them on camera, but that's fine. I'm not going to go back through and do it now. I'll just do it afterwards and write it down. So here we have another one that has a lot of reds in it, and just get a load of this. Absolutely stunning little crested gecko. One of my favorite ones that we have here. Now this, it's arguable on if it has the Dalmatian morph in it. Like, you can see what could be a couple of spots, like there's one back here for sure. But once again, arguable. That could just be the breakage from the brindling that he has in them. But really, really excited to see how this one turns out, and it's really great to have another red one into the breeding program. That makes 3 reds that we have. We definitely need to be getting the lily white, but other than that, I'm really happy with the cresties that we have here. We're going to really be able to do a lot with these things. Now, we have the last one that I need to show you here. Another brindled out Dalmatian. Doesn't have a lot of white on the tail, but I like a variety. If we're going to be breeding for different things, we want a variety of things. And just look at the patterning on its back. Look at how broken up it is. It is so crazy. You're not jumping. We've had enough of the jumping. And once again, you got the portholes on the side, very small yet, but they're there. And it's just going to be a lot of fun to work with these guys. So I'm going to be back here in just a few moments, and we'll show you releasing them into the enclosure, and we'll talk a little bit about what their setup should be like. You're going to be surprised. They're some of the easiest things to take care of that you've ever seen. Thank you so much. So the best part about crested geckos is the husbandry. So these things here, they're going to want an enclosure where they have a lot going on, if you can't tell. They want vines. They want things to hide under. You're going to need a relative good amount of moisture in here. You don't want the dirt that's down here in the bottom to be overly wet. And I also like to put moss in here. Now this is real moss that I've collected from the woods, so you know it's got the good springtails and everything on it. So this is more of a bioactive setup than not. But room temperature. You don't need any lights. The only reason that light's up there is because it brightens up the enclosure in the daytime and it helps out with the day-nighttime cycle, but they don't even need that. Room temperature is perfectly fine for these guys. They don't like to be too warm. You don't want them to be over 83-ish, and that's pushing it. I have had them up to about 87 in the reptile room upstairs on a hot day, and that's why they're all downstairs now, because they don't vibe well with the other things that I have up there as far as temperature goes. I like to keep it about 83 to 85 up there, and it's a little bit too warm for these guys. Pangea crested gecko diet is a great thing to feed them, but I've noticed these youngsters, they don't really like the fruit so much. They prefer bugs, which we have plenty of here at Web Dove Exotics. So we don't worry about the Pangea diet yet. Once they put on some size, we'll start giving that to them. In the meantime, we do feed them some bananas and things like that occasionally, but for the most part, it's just gonna be bugs for right now. So yeah, relatively simple. You're just gonna wanna make sure that you do spray them on a daily basis with some water, and that's not because they have to have that extra moisture every day. That's simply because they need to be able to drink. As you can see, there's no water bowl in there. They don't drink out of a water bowl. Some people will say they will, and maybe they do, but I just make sure I'm diligent, and I make sure that every day I'm spraying some water in here, and that's where the spots come from, but that's okay. So that's a bit about the Cresties and the baby stage. I would like for you all to comment, subscribe, like the video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.